right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I'm sitting here in the basement. I didn't want to kick my girlfriend out of the living room. So, here we are. There's no doubt about it, folks. We are slogging through hard times. And part of me thinks we probably should have known something was coming with as many historical documentaries as we watch these days. At this point, pretty much anything horrible that's happened in human history, there's a 4-part documentary on Hulu about it, and we can't get enough of them. Anything horrible we love. War, Hitler, serial killers. Oh, a bunch of people died? That's perfect. 2-part documentary. Sign me up. I think there was a feeling, though, of none of this stuff's going to happen to us. We have Instagram. We're safe. We have Twitter. This just exists in Amazon Premium, Prime Video. It's not real. And now, here we are. It's our turn to show a little grit and a little toughness and a little positive thinking and the ability to just slog through hard times. You know? I think whatever we lack in preparedness or knowledge about what we're dealing with will make up for in the ability to just slog one through. And I've, been thinking, thank God for the healthcare workers. Woo! They deserve everything. You can't say enough about the healthcare workers, but also the grocery store workers and the gas station attendants and the people picking up the trash. I think in a crisis, you really see what jobs are worth it. Like the guy that's the social media director, whatever, for some app. It's kind of like, bro, you're pretty much useless now that we're in a crisis. And the guy stocking the grocery store shelves, he's the man. This is the guy we need. I was kind of laughing too because the healthcare workers, they know when you get into that, there's this honor and there's kind of a code, and if it gets bad, your experience and knowledge, you're going to get in there and help the helpless type of thing, and they know that. But I feel like this caught the grocery store workers kind of by surprise. You don't think all of a sudden you're going to just be the most important people. Like society goes, we need our healthcare professional. In this time of crisis, we need the healthcare professionals on the front line. And also on the front line, we need the grocery store workers. The guy stocking the shelves, like, front line? I'm just doing this job to pay for a DUI. When did I become the most important guy? So, like I said, hats off to all of the people that are working right now and keeping the supply chain going. I don't know. Honestly, you guys, I had a story that I was so excited to tell you guys late last week, and I worked on it, and I had all the moments ready to go that I thought were needed, and I was excited to tell it. And I never tell the people that I'm going to tell that are in the stories that I tell because I just don't want them to say no. And usually they never even find out because it's just on the channel. And so I was working on this story, pumped for the idea, pumped to tell you guys. And then out of the blue, it's my buddy. It's like one of my best friends. We went on this long comedy tour together. And during the comedy tour, something crazy happened with his family, like personal, and I figured it was fine, I'll just tell it from my perspective. I was there, and my buddy called me after I'd worked on it all day, had called me, and I broke my rule. I was like, dude, it's crazy you called. I'm telling the story tomorrow. And he was like, oh, man, can you hold off on telling it? And he had some legitimate reasons, and also it's just a stressful time, so I probably would have pushed harder, like, come on, man, it's a great story, let's just do it, but it's a stressful time, and I don't want to add stress by, telling a story that he's not ready to have out there. Or I think you guys will hear it at some point. Maybe we were thinking have him do it, and the next time we're in the car together, tell it and have his reactions or whatever it is. But all of a sudden, I had this idea that I loved for the show, and then it was gone off the table. And I haven't had an idea really that I have liked since then, and I have a Lori Daybell update that we'll talk about right now, but that's kind of where I've been. All of a sudden, I've been bummed about that, and all of a sudden 5 days has gone by, so I just got to shake it off, get back into it. I hope you guys are all doing well. We're feeling good. So let's talk about Lori Daybell. So a few new things. One of them is court filings that Ian, who is, so Melanie is Lori's niece, right? And she was married to Brandon. She went full on cult with Lori at a certain point, and that's when Lori probably told Alex, her brother, to shoot at Brandon. Remember driving Charles, who Alex did shoot and kills truck. Anyway, you guys know the story. But so Melanie and Brandon got divorced, and then she married super quickly this guy named Ian. And then when everything started happening, law enforcement talked to Ian, but then he also talked to his lawyers. And these filings, I'm pretty sure, if I understand it right, came from Ian talking to his lawyers, but they're now being used as Brandon to prove to the courts, like, look, Melanie's a total nutcase. Look at this stuff. And so what those filings show is pretty much how Lori and Chad justify killing all these people. And how they do that is they say that they have been possessed by zombies and a demon, or both. I don't know if it's or both or whatever it is, but zombie, demon, and then conveniently for them, the only way to save that person. So say I'm hanging out with Lori and Chad and everything's good, and then they decide, yeah, I don't like this guy anymore. He's not. He needs to go. And so what they would do is they would decide, okay, it's God's plan, right? How horrifying is that? Just if you need someone gone, you just go, God's plan. Yep, there it is. I should start using that one with my girlfriend. Like if we get in a fight, I'm like, actually, my opinion is God's plan. So tough to argue with that. So they would deem me as that I was possessed by a zombie and or a demon, and that it was God's plan for me to die. And what I was saying is, conveniently, the only way to save a person that has been possessed by the zombie demon is to kill their physical body, because their soul, their good soul, not the zombie demon soul, the good soul is in limbo where they're possessed, right? And so the only way to help that soul in limbo is to kill the physical body, which releases the good soul, I don't know, to the Mormon heaven or whatever, or the extremely weird, far to the side Mormon. I don't want to rip on the Mormons too much. And so it's like when Melanie, at one point, Lori came up to Melanie during the whole Brandon divorce thing, and she was saying, something's got to happen to Brandon. It's God's plan, and they're just, God's plan, and horrifying. And I got real into like the Manson cult. I got real into cults for a while, and I read the book Manson. I can't remember who read it, but there was a point. I think it's easy to romanticize like that cult, or there's a point though when it hits you looking down the Manson thing where it's like, oh, there's nothing. These are just a bunch of idiots in the desert that think like now's the time. And it's almost scarier than any cult movie that they could ever produce. Like there's a few cult movies on Netflix right now where the whole thing is like they're in this cult or they're thinking about it and weird stuff happens the whole movie, but you're not sure. Kind of the whole thing of the movie is you're not sure if are these just really weird, violent cult people, or is there a supernatural element to it? And then at the end, they always add that supernatural element where it's like he is the devil, or he does have a veil open to the, and it's way scarier for the cult movie to just get to the ending and there is no supernatural. They're not plugged into God. There's nothing. They're just delusional morons that are killing everybody. That's way scarier to me than if like Chad actually does have an open veil from meeting his grandpa. And another East Idaho News put out a story like 8 hours ago that and you guys have probably heard this because I think I've heard it before too. But so Charles Vallow, Lori's fourth husband that was killed by her brother, after he died, she plugged in his printer and then started kind of exploring his old computer and stuff, and opened up the Amazon and saw that Lori had bought like a $35 wedding ring off Amazon and like a bunch of beach clothing for their Hawaii trip. How horrifying is that? The husband dies, fourth husband dies, and she buys a swim trunk for husband 5 with husband's 4's Amazon account. I mean, does it get any scarier than these people? And I feel like, I don't know, I've had this update for a few days, but I feel like everything's going snail speed at this point. There's no urgency. Her lawyers all are quit. No bail company wants to touch her. And now that we're in the coronavirus lockdown, I feel like everything's going to slow down. I think maybe one good thing that could come from the lockdown is that the investigators going over like Tammy and Charles's death and all the, like, how the FBI and everybody was coming together, maybe that'll give them more time to do the autopsies or whatever. But I don't know. The fact that Chad is still walking around with everything they know is kind of surprising at this point. At this point, what with Lori, there's a new judge, but as of a few days ago, there wasn't a judge or any lawyers, so the pace of that one is going nuts. And I don't know, here we are. Like I said, I got to get over just being bummed about that story that I was excited and just get into something else. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I wanted to shout out right at the very end how Chad got hit with a wave and talked to his grandpa. Well, I actually 2 days ago talked to my real grandpa in real life, Jack Sharp. It was his 92nd birthday. And he watches the show, so give him some good vibes. We love you, Jack. It's got to be weird entering your 92nd year in the middle of a corona disaster, but he's the man. And I hope, like I said, I hope you guys are all doing well. I love you. I will be back soon. Talk to you later. Why? Stavin' why? Last question.